they'll take them back with 50 bottles. So that's why we want your name to make sure we get the bottle back and get it back to them so somebody else can take care of it. And if there are a couple of other things just real quickly, I put a sign-up list back there. There's a couple of things to sign up for. One of them is the July 15th trip to minister to Trent. You all heard that last week, right?
Yes.
If you didn't, let me just tell you, Pastor Don and Sharon Jarris are ministering and trying to build the church up in Trent. There's just a few people in the church. Don and Sharon are, I suppose, around my age, I suppose. I don't really know. I'm terrible at guessing ages. Scott, you're 87, right? I can't do ages. And I am way too smart to guess a woman's age or weight. But they're not a young couple, but they're working very hard. But with a small group of people, and their building is similar in size to ours. It's somewhat smaller. But the grounds are quite a bit bigger. They can't keep them. And they're trying to grow a church. People need to be able to walk in a door where the fascia isn't peeling off the door. But see, if it were your church, you wouldn't care about that. But if you were looking for a church, you would care about that. And they're trying, I mean, any way you cut it, they're trying to get people in the door to be excited about the place. We are who they have. Our division is undertaken. They are in our church. Our division of the church is here. And we are who they have. And I've asked, I got a hold of Jeff first thing because I need his expertise. But we need hands and feet and willing hearts. We'll leave here at 6 o'clock in the morning. On that Saturday morning, we'll go to Trenton. We will clean basements and shampoo carpets, and those who can paint will paint. And there's some doors that need to be hung. There's some window trim that needs replacing that looks bad. There's about 3 acres that need to be mowed for you, those of you who are well in practice with that. And we are their family. We are their family. There are only there are only 3 churches, other churches in this division, and we are by far the strongest, most stable church of that. And if we don't help them, they won't get any help, or they'll get very little. You don't let family just fail. You with me?
Amen.
You don't let family just fail from lack of doing. Now, if it fails, it fails, but it won't fail because we didn't try. So there's a sign-up list because they're going to feed us dinner and have snacks and stuff during the day to keep you charged up. Sign up the list so we can have, we're going that day, Mary and I are going. We may even hit Buddy to the lawnmower. We may make him for pocket lid will be out there. There's also a sign-up list back there for those of you who know now that you already know that you want to be part of the fall, that's what I believe, Tuesday night gathering. That sign-up list is back there as well. We will take 20, 22, whatever will fit in our family room for that small gathering. So if you want to do that, you might sign up for that as well. All right? We're going to be in Matthew, the 25th chapter, for a few minutes here. How many of you have seen, at least a dozen times, it seems like, The Wizard of Oz? Follow, 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 follow. Follow what? Okay. and what it's like. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. And so when he gave 5 talents of, in this case, money. But let's just stick with the word ability or talent. To another, 2 talents. To another, 1 talent. Each, are you reading with me? Yeah. Each, read this part, according. Now wait a minute. They got their talents. The master gave them their talents. This is a parable about the kingdom of heaven. And they got their talents, and one got 5, and one got 3, and one got 1. Why? Because the master just decided, well, I like you more than I like you, but I like you more than I like you. So we're going to go 1, 3, 5, right? No, why? They got their talents. I just happened to pick them because they're 3. This is not a social comment. Let's go the other way. The master says, well, you're 5 because I like you more. You're 3 because you're still in the middle. Because I like you a little less. And you're getting only 1 because I don't like you quite as much as others. No, they got their talents each. The master understood what they were able to do. Oh, I could stop and preach right there. The man who had received the 5 talents went at once and put his money to work, and he gained 5 more. How come he had 5 in the first place? Each? Oh, you're going to preach this sermon with me now. This is a responsive sermon. He had 5 talents in the first place because he got each, and he took his 5 talents and he doubled it. All right, with me? So also the one with 2 talents gained 2 more. Now, how did he get 2 in the first place? Wait a minute. He got them because the master decided to give them each. Oh, come on. He decided to give them to them each. Why are you not a more talented person? Because you have certain things that were given to you that are just you're good at. The message here is you can do something with what you've been given, and you can get more out of it than you even put into it. He put 2 in, or one put 5 in, he got 10 back, the other one got 2 back. The one who got 1. I don't have time to read all of this. The story goes all the way through. He said, you know what? I'm not very talented. I only have this one little thing that I can do. But I'm going to save that for just the right thing and the right time. And he buried it away. He hid it away, and he did nothing with it. And the master eventually comes back, and he goes and he says to the person, hey, I invested myself, because that's what the master does. He invests himself. Some of y'all have kids in college, right? You are investing yourself, whether you thought of it that way or not. You think it's just money, but you are investing yourself. Some of you all have kids that are still in high school and grade school, right? Yeah. You hear breathing? You are investing yourself in those kids. It isn't just the money, and it isn't that they wear you out, though I'm sure they do. You're investing yourself. When the master comes back and says, I invested myself in you. I put something into you. What have you done with it? And the man who had 5 said, well, I've got. I took what you gave me, and I put it to use. And something good came out of it. It isn't about the numbers, honey. It's about something good came out of what I used that God gave me to use. And so the master says, that's good. And so he says to the person to whom he's invested 2 things,
2 talents, 2 measures of something. Now I invested 2 into you. What have you done? So, after all, it's an investment by the master. It's the master's real talent. Each according to their ability. I thought you were able to handle 2. What have you done with it? Well, I quite as well as, well, actually, I did just as well. I took what you invested in me, Master, and I used it, I invested it, and it paid off. The Master said, that's cool. Thank you. You've been faithful. That's all the Master asks. Faithful. I tell people all the time who talk about, well, the truth, the work in Boonville Church, it's a solid work, and you've done such a good work, and you've and I really appreciate all of that. But I say to them, really all I ever did was stay. I believe so wholeheartedly that God rewards faithfulness, not fruitfulness. Not that God's not interested in the fruitfulness. It's that the fruitfulness happens through faithfulness. Amen. If God's given you gifts, talents, ability, the basic one is you love Him and you've given your life to Him. That He's invested Himself in you. That's why you say, I'm a Christian. Because He's invested Himself in you. And we can put that out there. Whether it's with the Carmen ministry that's happening, or the baby bottle boomerang that's happening, or the exercise group. We can put that out there. Something good will grow. But what so often happens is we look at what we don't have instead of what we do. Okay. Pastor Dave and I, Ed and Evelyn, church leadership at the time, we sat down one time many years ago, and we decided to quit making excuses for not doing something bigger or more for Jesus on the basis of the fact that other people had more money or building or whatever than we had. We weren't going to make excuses anymore. We were going to use what we had. Maybe because God gave us only that much because we'd screw it up if we had more. Pastor, now why don't you pastor a bigger church? I actually was offered some bigger churches. Much bigger. But faithfulness meant something to me. And I found out that I couldn't love you to the door and shut the door late. I wasn't capable of doing that. The other reason is this. I really believe that God put me in a place that was according to my ability. I really did. My ability has gotten a little larger as the years have gone on because I really have had a heart toward using and putting to work what little talent God made apparent that I had. I've discovered other talents that I didn't know I had. I didn't know I could do that. Well, there's some stuff you don't know you can do until you have to. That's right. But I'll be darned, I can't do that. And so here we are. And many believers in many churches take I could really do something for Jesus if I only had a brain. If only somebody would die and leave us $1 million, we could really accomplish something for Jesus.
happening to churches right here in this town. And it's caused them endless turmoil and sadness. Because it's what church became about. If we only had a chin. Oh, I've spent a few years singing that ditty. Silently, not just telling you. Our whole society is that way. This 99%, 1% nonsense. Let me just tell you that whole process and that whole thing, without going into any of the politics, don't care who your politician is or anything, that whole thing is based on nothing but greediness. Nobody is entitled to anything that somebody else has worked for. You're not entitled to it. Well, how much of it is my fair share? Your fair share is what you worked for, and God's given you some talent and some ability according to the measure of your ability, and it's your responsibility to make something of it. And greediness will never bring you anything. I'm sorry. Vote for whom you want to vote for. I could care less because there doesn't seem to be that much difference to me. That whole concept of that thing of people hanging out wanting this stuff for free and that stuff for free. There's nothing but greed in the heart of that. I mean, you can even be fairly well off and have wealth envy. What a waste of energy. But if I only had a husband, a wife, better kids, if my schools were only better, if my... And what we've done as individuals is not invest ourselves as the investment into which God has placed Himself. See the guy with 5 talents saying, bringing the master stuff to him. Choose the best. Every time you invest yourself for Jesus, every time you insert yourself for Jesus in a situation, you're taking the investment the Lord has placed in you. You say, well, Pastor, if I was only a little wiser, if I only had better theology, if I follow the yellow brick road and go nowhere. Does the Master have expectations of me? You can answer. I said me. You would think fair. Does the Master, does the Lord have expectations of Pastor Mel?
Yes.
Now that's a lot easier than saying myself. Isn't it? But He's invested Himself in you. I'm going to stop right here with this. You raise your hand if you're a Christian. You've accepted Jesus as your Savior. Raise your hand. And look up here with your hand raised. With your hand raised, look up here. God wants you to know that He has invested Himself in you. That's why you're carrying His name. You're carrying His name. And He has some expectation about you. Everything that He has given you and everything that you are, every good and perfect gift in your life is from God. And you're to invest it and make it grow. And bring it back to Him. Now put your hands this way. Pray this. Pray this prayer. Heavenly Father, I will take the gifts you've given me. I will use them. I'll invest them for you.
Fill my hands, Lord, with blessings and with talents that I can bring back to you and say, look what I brought you. The best gifts, Lord, would be people. Amen. No Bible study tonight. Karen's signing up for baby bottles. The other lists are back there.